It's really about, I mean, you have to spend time with your subjects. You have to understand them as people and what their story is, because they can tell you like, hey, this is what I do, you know, this is my story. But you can see it totally different, and your perception of it may be way more interesting than they ever thought about. And so that's kind of, you know, by spending time with people and investing that time, you'll get, you know, in return, it's like a return on investment, really, for creative questioning, or, you know, however you go about it. So, you know, it starts with like coffee, like everybody. But I like to watch, you know, I like to watch Vimeo. You know, I like to watch what people are doing, and like the latest and greatest filmmakers out there. I keep an eye on them. And I kind of like am half gearhead tech person, but also that shit is moving so fast, I can't keep up with it. So it's like, I just, you know, I've gotten to a point where I you know, creatively know what I'm capable of, my skill set, and when I'm able to, you know, employ those skills by whoever hires me, is what I do. And from inspiration, I mean, I just go back to the roots, which is just knowing I need to get personal to reach an audience. And I guess in terms of like exercises, yeah, I don't do this. I don't do the Creative Mornings that much, you know. Like I should be more involved in it, but I think I just get it from the media that I consume through Vimeo or through like places where, you know, people put stuff out there, and sometimes it really inspires you, you know. Yeah, that's a really good question. I started in Wilmington while I was in college, and I worked in like production company doing this show called Modern Sniper, and it was like at the end of One Tree Hill. I was doing like the behind the scenes DVDs for like one of their last seasons. And then I moved to Raleigh because I hated being an editor just in a post-production room, and it's just a, you know, completely lateral, like you're not gonna go up, you're not gonna go down. Like, so I decided I knew how to shoot. I had been filming, you know, for a long time, making student films and crap. But then it was like 2010 when like Restrepo came out, and like I saw that a friend of mine, Jason Arthurs, who spoke before, he kind of mentored me a little bit and told me what gear to buy and what things to do, and you know, it just picks up like a snowball, you know, for commercial work at least. And so I got started like really early. I knew I like had to, this is going to be a fun career, so I want to get as much experience under my belt as I can. And I started when I was like a junior, and I graduated from film studies program. Marsha Gordon over there taught me, and now she's listening to me. But yeah, I got a lot out of that, so I just immersed myself in it really, and it just picks up like a snowball. That's a really good question. And it goes back to just time. I mean, when I walked into Big Life, and we were in the hooches in the middle of Ambazelli National Park, you know, trying to get images of elephants and patrols with the rangers. You know, I was, you know, we couldn't speak the same language. They were speaking Ma, Swahili. I mean, they were speaking bush language, like, which, how do you interpret that? I mean, it's like slang, because they live in the bush, and we were sleeping in mosquito nets, and it's like, how do you know, they see that you're a Westerner, and you're used to this like climate-controlled room with your laptop and your cell phone and, you know, your social media, and we had none of that. So we were living like they were living. We were eating what they were eating. We weren't eating raw goats, but we were doing what they were doing. And after about 3-4 days of doing that and being there in the morning at like before the sun rises to go out on that first patrol, like by being there, that's when they trusted us, and they were like, okay, we'll let him hang, like he's cool, we can just be ourselves. And that's when we got the best material, and that's kind of the point I wanted people to walk away with, is that, you know, you can't just walk in a room and just get your story and say, hey, I need to ask you this question, can you come over here? I mean, people are gonna get rattled, you know? If like I roll up to a Maasai warrior or like a ranger and just like point my camera like, hey, so can I get an interpreter over here? And like, you have to be very subtle, you know? And you have to be very like, you just have to go with a low profile and not scare, like put your camera behind you and just talk to them for the first 2 days. And then they're like, okay, he's like cool, and that's how we did it, you know. And that's, Jacob was not an easy guy to crack. Like he wanted to know what we were doing there. They get a lot of tourism from Sudan, like especially lately, because he is, you know, getting old, and it's just a matter of like a few years. And I keep in touch with the guys that are there, so I'm going to go back, but it's just I'm talking about what timing is right. But yeah, it's just, you got to give time, and you'll get quality material from that. Absolutely. It's asking open-ended questions. It's not, you have to let them talk, because if you ask them very direct questions, which sometimes you need to do, but it's really asking open-ended questions and letting them start telling you all these stories that they feel like you might want. And then you hear this one, and it's like, wait a second, you just said your dad was, you're from a lineage of poachers, like your dad was a poacher, your grandfather was a poacher, his great-grandfather, so you're from a lineage, but you're a ranger? Like, okay, so how did that happen? So then, like, those are the things that we listen for, and I think that's probably the best way to do it, is just let them talk, you know? Once they're comfortable to talk, let them talk, and then you can go any direction you want, and say, hey, I'm gonna hone in on this part, you know? And for me, it was like honing in on Jacob and his love for Sudan and his symbiotic relationship, that if Sudan dies, he might not have a job, and he has a family to support. So still I want to go back, because I don't feel like that's done, but we'll get there.